Introducing our speaker, Nikumbh, an AI and technology creator and digital educator. Founder and CEO of Content XP Media and the digital creator behind Digital Rajas, a community of over 180,000 learners, impacting 3,000 plus individuals through education and workshops. TEDx at Tulas International School on 6th Feb 2026.
Let me confess something, my dear friends. If grades and marks were the only strengths considered for students or youth today, trust me, I would never be standing in front of you guys today. Because I was an average student, and I'm very sure many of you must be feeling really better about your last report cards, and that's absolutely fine because this was me from my school days. I was an average student. This photo is like 14, 15 years back when I was studying in my schools. And when I say that, let me be very honest, I was always an average student and never a topper or a kind of traditional student success story. Well, while saying that, I genuinely believed that marks are everything in life and marks, they decide every single thing in your life, like how confident you should be, how far you will go in your life, whether if you are smart or not. Everything was based on marks and something that I was not really good at. As a student, as a person, I was very curious and confident since a very young age. Not confident actually, but curious and creative, but always average on paper. And whenever I used to get less marks, I used to go into this zone called as low confidence zone. I'm very sure this happens with many of you as youth of a particular institute or as just a youth, right? And I'll tell you what exactly happens. Whenever you get into that less confidence zone, you start doubting yourself. You do not believe in yourself. And that's where the real damage begins as a youth, as a student. And I call it as an invisible damage, something that silently starts happening within yourself, that only you can understand, that only that person can relate to who has got less marks in the exams. And you know what exactly happens? When something like this happens, you actually start doubting yourself. People can just judge your answers, but you start doubting yourself, which is the worst part that can happen to any individual. And when I say that, more things happen, like you stop raising your hands in the classroom, you stop taking initiatives in something that is good, something you might be actually good at, and you start feeling that I'm not actually made for this, something that I felt also. And you know what, when I say I was an average student, I wasn't a bad student. I was just bad at, I was not even bad at learning. I just used to take my own time. And when I say that, I wasn't bad at learning, but I was bad at something which I call believing in myself, which is the problem with most of us. And that faith, that belief remained with me until something unexpected happened in my life. Until life gave me an unexpected classroom. Well, it all started during a pandemic, COVID, something that we all experienced and something that was really tough for all of us. A pandemic that sprawled and spread it across the globe, which was a troublesome time for all of us, turned out to be a great boon for me as a person, as an individual, because then I was sitting in my hometown. I had to go back from my city where I was taking my education due to government regulations, and I had to go back to the hometown, and I was sitting in my home silently, which I cannot do for a long time. So what I did was I thought of sharing something with people. Now when I actually asked myself what I can do, then I thought of sharing something that I was better at. So I was better at few digital skills. I was good at design skills, few editing skills. So I thought to teach that to people around me. So I started all with teaching people from one single small room that my parents still have in one of their houses. And this is my first setup where I started teaching as an educator. And that's my first laptop that was gifted by my dad. So that was very much for me because I'm coming from a very middle class family, and having a laptop, I used to think, how can I monetize it? How can I use it in the best way possible? So these are a few photos of my workshops that I used to teach online on Zoom. So I did my first workshop. I believe that all the big things in the world, they start with small beginnings. So this was the small beginning of my journey as an educator. I was teaching people some basic design concepts, fundamentals of design and editing then. And this was one of my first workshops that I had then. And I did my first workshop. And first thing, whenever you're doing something for the first time in life, it's something which you will be nervous for. You can see me. I'm nervous right now because this is my first TED Talk. But you know what? When you do that first time, everything becomes absolutely easy and wonderful for you. So I did my first workshop. People loved it. I was just concerned about one thing. If I'm teaching something as an educator, as a teacher, they should understand and learn it much more better than me. So that was the only concern which kept me going. And I always wanted to share something because my master, Master Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankarji, always says that there's a lot of joy in sharing. So I just wanted to share what I had. So I started teaching, and you will be shocked that what surprised me while doing all this wasn't the technology, but the people on the other side of the screens. Because I was doing it for a long time, and after a few months, I had students from different nations now. Not just India. I have students right now from US, UK, Europe, Netherlands, New Zealand, Africa, even Pakistan. So that's I feel the power of the real education and sharing some value. So what surprised me were the people on the other side of the screens. I was teaching it all online through Zoom, right? So how people surprised me, I'll tell you, because all the people who were learning from me were either doing something better in their lives, were already successful. I still have a few students who were already celebrities. They were either older than me in terms of age, or they were successful, as I said. And they had more experience than me. And yet they were learning from me. That was the point when I realized what real strength really means. And that's when I realized strength is never about marks. Strength was never about marks. Strength is more about learning what you're good at, your skills, and making sure you make some impact out of those skills and talents for yourself first and for others. So that's how I realized what my strengths were. And that's why I feel real strength is more about learning something continuously and consistently and making sure you adapt the changes and transformations in the world as the world changes. I particularly work in technology and AI sector. So every single team, my manager or my team tells me, sir, we have a new tool today and we have to make a new video. So that's actually exhausting because that's how fast the world is changing. Well, once you know how to adapt, then it's also very important to apply what you know, the knowledge that you have with the full confidence in the real world. That's what real strength actually means. And there's one tool that actually amplifies this strength so much in today's era, and that is AI. That's something that we call AI, right? AI is something that gives us a lot of power. But there are a lot of misunderstandings and misconceptions about AI when I talk about AI. So before I move ahead, I want to ask really, how many of you know ChatGPT and how many of you feel that you really know how to use ChatGPT? How many of you? Please raise your hands. Many, right? I'll tell you there are many misunderstandings about AI when I actually gonna talk about AI. So let me talk about those misunderstandings and misconceptions first. I hear this a lot from my students, my interns and employees, young minds who revolve around me. Most of them feel that AI is just ChatGPT, which is wrong. AI is much more beyond than much beyond than ChatGPT. ChatGPT is just like a door. There's a lot beyond that, and you need to explore that as a youth. Well, that is one misunderstanding. While some feel that AI is magic, others, they feel that AI is more like cheating. Where some feel AI is too technical and too advanced, and I won't be able to understand, I'm not smart enough, right? Some believe that it's only for coders, while many believe that AI is going to take my job. It's my competition. But let me be very honest, my dear friends, as a youth, AI is going to be a huge power for us, but this misunderstanding is dangerous. This misunderstanding keeps young minds away from the real power. So please understand that AI is not something that is scary. Rather, AI is something that boosts your power and your strengths much more better. Well, let me tell you how you should actually think about AI. What is the right way to think about AI? Many professionals, many youth and students ask me, sir, what is the right way to implement AI in the day-to-day life and get our life more productive and better? Well, it all begins with self-awareness. I believe more in philosophy, as I spend a lot of time in technology and AI. The more you know, easy becomes for you to use those technology and AI tools. So I'll tell you how it should be thought of. Well, if you want to use AI, any young mind, any youth, if wants to use AI, never ever start with AI directly. Always start with your problems. Always self-reflect and go into that self-awareness phase. I'll tell you how. There are three things, a simple sequence. Understand what your task is. For a person like me, creating content is a major task, and I have many subtasks, right? So the task that I have is different compared to students, compared to teachers. So everyone has their own task. So first, make clear yourself about what your task is, understand what your task is, then identify the challenges. You might be slow at what you are actually trying to do, as a taskmaster, or maybe the task might be repetitive, so the challenges can be anything. So identify your challenges, and then make sure you introduce AI, those particular AI tools for that particular section. And that simple it is. Once you understand your task, once you understand your challenges, it becomes absolutely easy to introduce that particular AI tool based on that problem in that particular section. That's how AI should be used. A very simple sequence that I have trained in different colleges and institutes. That's what I follow. It's very simple. If you understand this, you can automate anything in your life. Well, once you do that, everything becomes easy for you. You just have to build once, and you have to keep improving forever throughout your life. Like as a students, there are so many AI tools available in the market that you can use: ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and so many. So what can that do for you? You can basically summarize your chapters as students, as youth. You can automate your notes, your flashcards. You can organize your learning and introduce productivity into your studies and learning. And using all free tools. That is something what I teach in different schools and colleges. So I want you guys to understand there's a lot of potential in AI if you use it in the right way. Well, this is something which I'm really known for, my Instagram handle, digitalrajas.ai, where I have lakhs of followers and where I'm trying to educate people with AI. Well, I'll tell you a best example of build once and improve forever. So if you go to my Instagram channel, Instagram page, all the videos that I have posted as a creator in the last 6 months, it's not me, but it's my AI avatar that's visible in the video. It sounds exactly like I'm sounding right now. It looks exactly like I'm looking in real world. And it's doing the same gestures and speaking exactly what my team wants or what my script writer wants. And that's something that we did using AI. So for last 6 months, I can proudly say I did not sit in front of the camera even once. And still, all my videos were going. So that's very good example of build once and keep improving forever. Well, that system actually gave me a lot of freedom. When I got a lot of free time, I invested that in my agency, my business. And I got a lot of freedom to learn new things. I got freedom to build my business on my own, in my own way, without any limitations. And since I'm saying that, let me tell you, since the very young age, for me, the real strength has always been freedom. Freedom to choose what I want to do in life, freedom to being able to build that I really, wish to without any limitations, and being able to learn without any, limitation of pace or speed. So I can learn with my own pace. That's what I wanted. And that's what real strength means to me. And AI actually did not give me freedom, but it amplified what I was doing. It helped me get better at whatever I was doing in terms of efforts. Well, while saying that, let me talk about something which is very important for you guys to know as a youth. Not knowing your strengths is the biggest loss that can happen. For example, if I was not standing here today and giving this TED talk, nothing would really matter. But the silent loss continues, and that silent loss is when young minds don't know their potential, they either underuse their potential, they don't use the potential to the fullest, they either settle for something too early, something undeserving, because they don't know what really they do deserve, right? Because they don't know what their strengths are. And sometimes you start taking decisions out of fear when you don't know your strengths. And that's why it's absolutely important to know your strengths. And let's understand how exactly you should find your strengths as a young mind so that once you understand your strengths, you can use AI in the better way and the AI tools available in the market. Well, there are three simple signals that I want you guys to understand. Very simple. First is energy. Second is growth. And third is results. I'll keep it very short, but I want you guys to please understand. I want you guys to ask these questions to yourself. First, understand what is something that gives you an immense energy, something that you can do as a task for a long period of time, and yet you don't feel tired. You can tirelessly do that for many hours. That is one signal for you. For me, it is speaking, interacting with people, teaching them, having conversations. That is something which gives me energy. Second signal for you is, what is something that you guys improve at quickly compared to others? Not immediately, but gradually. You feel progress within yourself. When I was teaching people across the globe, I was feeling something is changing within me and I'm getting better at speaking. I wasn't perfect when I started, because strength is never about perfection. So understand what you grow at quickly, and then understand where do you see results. When I say that, results can be seen anywhere. The format can be anything. You can see results in the examination marks. You can see results in terms of solid impact. You can see results in terms of feedbacks from people. You can see results in terms of appreciation and praises that I saw for my workshops. Whenever I had my workshop, people used to just, appreciate whatever I taught them, and they used to ask me, sir, when is your next workshop happening? I want to do the advanced part of this. So that's how you understand the signals, and you will find your real strengths at the center of this, at the intersection of all these 3 points that I actually explained you. That simple it is. And when you understand this, life becomes easy. When you know your strengths, everything becomes wonderful. Like you become good at your studies, your career, and your entire life. So please know your strengths. And these are 3 important signals that I feel are very important. Well, while saying that, let me tell you, my dear friends, let me give you a message that AI is never going to replace you, because AI cannot replace thinking. AI just rewards clarity. If you're clear about what you want, then it can work in the wonderful way. AI is just like a tool. So if you don't know what exactly you want, then how that tool shall work for you, right? So please understand, AI is never going to replace you. But yes, a student from your same class can replace you who is knowing AI. So AI is not your replacement, but the person or the human being who is learning AI is definitely your replacement. So never feel scared about AI, because I feel youth with clarity, curiosity, confidence, and creativity using AI tools, can totally redefine the way we call what real strength is. And let me leave you all with this one message, my dear friends. Understand who you are, understand what you're good at, and let the technology and AI support you and not scare and threaten you. Because strength was never about marks. I feel the real strength is more about knowing who you are and having a courage to grow. Thank you so much.